Frozen Tundra Football League.
Welcome back to all of my friends and fellow FTFLers to the longest running weekly episodic, well, almost weekly episodic fantasy football update show. That's right. Welcome to the FTFL Weekly Update. It is I, Brett Sieber, not only the host of this show 5 years running, not only of your third place champion, Hulkamaniacs, not only the one and true king of the FTFL, but that song that will carry you through the entire offseason deep down inside your heart. Woo! Championship week has come. Yeah, in more ways than one, maybe. But more on that later. And championship week has gone. The 21st edition of the FTFL season is now in the books, and it has brought us our first ever four-time champ, Jeff Markser. He of the Mana, not one, not two, not three, but four-time Lucky Pants champ, Mana. Congratulations to you, Jeff Markser. Truly an amazing accomplishment. Only one other owner with three, and that would be Sid Hagen. Now, of course, the loser of the Fantasy Bowl, slightly different story. Ryan Deesum, in his first two Fantasy Bowl appearances, he went undefeated. Since then, he has gone 0 for 2, including two of the last three Fantasy Bowls. That's a tough pill to swallow and carry with him into the offseason as we head into next season. Now, yes, championship game happened. Third place game, as I mentioned, I won. We'll get more into that later. However, my score was a top 10 all-time score. Huge week. 1 week too late, nonetheless. Tonight, we are also, along with covering the games, we will have not one, but two parades. We're going to get a glimpse into Jeff's celebration as well as the long-awaited payoff of the bet between Adam Swart and Sid Hagen. Adam Swart parade here tonight, too. Before we completely sign off, I'm going to take a quick dive into what next year's keepers might possibly look like. And for one particular individual, boy oh boy, you better get a game plan together because the cupboard is bare. And the last thing you'll hear me mention, which I make a point of doing every year on this show, will be next year's draft date. So while you're watching, grab a pen and some paper. Better yet, your phone. Get ready. We're going to punch in the date so you don't have to ask me when August rolls around, or July, or June, or whenever. When is the draft? Of course, the draft is what starts it every year. And at the draft this year, there were four of us. There was Adam Swart, Sid, Jeff, and myself. And one of those four people that made it to the draft won the whole league. Correlation, I'm not entirely sure. Jeff came into this game 11-4 and on a complete tear. Ryan Deesum's fantasy football team comes in at 8-7, scrounging above 500 after making the playoffs. Of course, beat me with an above average performance last week, and well, it was another slightly above average performance this week, which lets you know just who Ryan Deesum's fantasy football team was this year. He mustered 93.5 points. Jeff, again, continued handing out the ass whippings, 122.5. For Jeff, this whole season, and particularly the second half of the season, was all about two players, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Now, Josh Allen has been pretty good all season long. He did make the jump people were anticipating he'd make. Not in just a little, but in a lot. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year. Stephon Diggs, that pairing, boy, did it really start to click midway through the season, and off they went as Jeff rattled off 7. He'll try to tell you 8 straight victories because I guess he played salty the week after the championship in an unsanctioned game. But 7 straight to end the season. 36 from Josh Allen, 34.5 from Diggs. Nick Chubb, 12.5. Will Lutz, 10. No one else was in double digits. It was the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs show for sure. Jeff now finds himself 4-4 all time in fantasy bowls. I think pretty similar to where LeBron is at. I think LeBron just got up to 500, maybe, all time. Maybe he's still below. Not entirely sure. If you're Ryan, the KC trio, they came, but they didn't necessarily saw and or kick ass. Patrick Mahomes, 16. Travis Kelce, 15.5. Daniel Carlson. Now, the Vikings, who have had all sorts of troubles with kickers this year in particular, last year a little bit, had they not just cut Carlson after one damn game, they'd still have a pretty good kicker on their hands. Allen Robinson II notched 11. Aaron Jones a measly 7. Ryan Deesum loses. He falls to 2-2 in fantasy bowls. So there you have it, 2 individuals who are a mere 500 in fantasy bowls. You want to know who's undefeated in his lone fantasy bowl appearance? That's right, this guy. And I would have beat both of you this week. It's not right. Glad both of you are lucky individuals. All right, we're going to take a break before we cover the third place game. A couple of the parades, some acts we got to cover. First and foremost, we are going to go live to Adam Swart, who is about to head into his neighborhood to pay off the bet between him and Sid in their Toilet Bowl championship. Adam, take it away.
All right, I'm about ready to head out and do my part of the bet with Sid. But just before I do, I want to read what Sid wrote, what the loser has to do. And this is what he wrote exactly on the website. Loser has to wear a sign and videotape themselves walking through their neighborhood saying, "My fantasy team sucks." 2 problems with this. 1, the sign doesn't specify what the sign has to say, how big the sign has to be, or where I have to wear it. And 2, it sounds like he wants me to say that his team sucks. So that's what I'm going to do. If this is what Sid wants, this is what Sid gets. I'll catch you on the outside. All right, so I'm outside, and here we go. Sid's fantasy team sucks. Sid's fantasy team sucks. Ooh, hold on. I got somebody up here. It's gonna be good. Sid's fantasy team sucks. Excuse me. Hello. Hey, Sid's fantasy football team sucks. Hey, sorry, I'm in the neighborhood. I just lost a bet on my fantasy football team. And I have to go around saying that Sid's fantasy team sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Sid's team sucks.
Thank you. There you have it. His team sucks. Come on, to the house. Sid's fantasy team sucks.
All right, new nickname time, Captain Loophole. If Sid asks or if Sid gripes about how this went down, I'm in a favor with Sid. Yeah, you ran into a neighbor, you had a little bit of a stranger you had to run into, and so you got some of the participation, which was great. But I really, truly feel this needed to be a big event. Big sign, my team sucks, not Sid's team sucks, my team sucks, and I really think all of us should have been there. So maybe we'll take a vote, and we'll do a redo sometime in the spring and or in the summer where the whole league comes down, and we all watch you parade around the neighborhood talking about how much your team sucks. That might seem a little more fair. Now, he was not in the only parade that had to do with celebrations and or the end of the season. We have for you, and some of you have already seen this, maybe some of you didn't, or maybe some of you tried not to look, a picture from the scene at Jeff's celebration. Here it is. Now, from what I understand, the parade wasn't much at first. And then, in a matter of moments, millions erupted onto the scene, and just as fast as it started, it was over, and the lights went out, and it was pretty quick. So I've heard. No, actually, Jeff, that picture of you in the dark, no one knows what you were doing. No one really wants to know what you were doing. But here to speak his own piece, a live now look-in. Jeff Marksher wants to hopefully clear that issue up, maybe for us. If not, at least send us off properly with regards to his fourth title. Take it away, Jeff.
3 plus Carville math. 3 plus 1 is 4.
All right, well, now that we got all of that out of the way, let's get to the third place game, the record-setting performance for a playoff point total. The Hulkamaniacs 9-5 coming in taking on the other first-round bye team. Of course, the Architect at 9-5. Both of us first-round byes. Both of us got beat in the first round of the playoffs. Matt, by what was at the time the highest point total for this season until this week. Jeff scored 139 against Matt. I tagged him for 145.5. That's right. Matt not only suffered 2 70-point losses very early in the season, but then finished his season with the 2 highest points against totals of the year. Good Lord, you mentioned the Wambulance. I'm not even going to call you out on it because I'd be flat out pissed. 145.5 for me, 86 for Matt. It really was the Alvin Kamara show. 6 touchdowns, the Christmas gift that just kept on giving. 51.5 points for him. That is the 11th highest single game total ever. It is the 3rd highest running back total. Priest Holmes, no. Jamal Charles has one of them, and the other, the muscle hamster himself, Doug Martin. 51.5 was amazing. Mike Evans really went to go the whatever you could do, I could do better. Not quite, but 29 for him, 28 for Rodgers, 17 for Jason Sanders. No one else above 6. So that was it. Just 3 guys on my team scored touchdowns, but they scored a lot of them. If you're Matt, Devontae Adams had a huge night, 31.5 points. Adam Thielen, 16. We went into this season looking at Matt's receivers saying he probably has the best receiving core in football, and it was mostly so. I think the most touchdowns, yardage, we'll see. I mean, but his receivers are amazing. And probably as we get into early keepers for next year, high on his list as we head towards that. Leonard Fournette, 11. Myers and Casey both notched 10. All right, stud of the dud and the decent before we get into next year's keepers, and then we're going to send this thing home. Stud of the week, Alvin Kamara, 51.5 points. It's tough to top that, although the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, 70.5 point combined performance was a really good showing for Jeff and their team. Dud of the week, Tyreek Hill, 6 points. Second lowest point total of the season. It was at least 10 points below his average. Deesum needed you. He traded for you. And in his moment of need, you failed him. One would say you choked or you flopped, but I'm not that one. Because that kind of stuff is just a myth, and it's all made up, and it's all luck anyway. So there's really no essence of anyone ever choking in fantasy football on a consistent basis. This week's Decent Award nominee is one that kind of got brought back to light here as we've talked about payouts. But it was brought to my attention that people should be reminded, because I'm not even entirely sure it made my list, that John sent his league dues to the wrong person. As far as running a successful fantasy football operation, a lot of it does start with making sure you give the money to the right person. And John couldn't even get that correct. He's got to be in the conversation. And I hope Sydney Hagan of the She Status does get some money towards the end from Jeff Marksher. That would be great. All right, before we wrap this up completely, I took a little look at everyone's teams. Who might be the keepers as we head into next season? Who might be available? I've ranked these from worst all the way to first, and we're starting off at number 10. If he didn't have a rookie keeper, I don't think he'd have any keepers at all. Adam Swart, Joe Burrow, we know is your rookie keeper. Cam Akers, you played late in the season. He was a second-round pick. You were never going to keep him. But after that, J.K. Dobbins, maybe? Kenny Golladay? You're not keeping Kenny Golladay. And Julio, okay, we all saw the jig is up. Julio is toast. You got nobody. You got nobody. Now, if you pay attention, you use that pen and paper that you have out to write down the draft date, because you, my friend, really need to know it, because there is a couple of people in this league who, at least within the state, have a tendency of not showing up for this thing. You're one of them. Write down some of these players' names, some of these teams. You're going to know who you want to maybe make a trade with to improve your team going into the draft next year. Number 9, Eric. We covered this a ton this year. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, you remember, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 weeks in, I added Myles Gaskin to the chart. And some of you are like, that's ridiculous. Why would you add him? Oh, I don't know. After 17 weeks of football, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 112 points of fantasy. Myles Gaskin, 112 and a half points. That's right. Maybe he is a better keeper option, Eric, than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't know. Jalen Reagor and I give you the nod over Joe because you at least have a running back. Maybe? Sorry, a nod over Swart. After that, though, Jalen Reagor's rookie keeper. Amari Cooper? Probably not. Russell Wilson? I doubt it. Younghoe Koo? Kicker's been kept before. Maybe that's the route you need to go. Coming in at number 8, John. Jonathan Taylor really finished strong, looking like a keeper for John next year. Brandon Ayuk, rookie keeper, is going to be great. Gostkowski is on the roster, so you might keep him, but I'm assuming he'll keep Barkley. Who knows what that knee's going to look like. He's had an entire season for it to get better. He should return to form next year. Number 7, Adam Saltmarsh. James Robinson was the good news. The bad news, kind of the rest of this. Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, maybe both kind of keepers. Stupid Face Jr., Kyler Murray, maybe. Now, Jerry Jeudy is his rookie keeper. James Robinson's a good one. The rest of it needs to be figured out. Coming in at number 6, Matt, who went into this year with looked like a strong team on paper. Again, great receivers, top 3 running back in Zeke Elliott. We covered that extensively. Zeke Elliott had a terrible year this year. Not entirely sure you keep him. Instead, do you keep Antonio Gibson, the rookie running back from Washington? Maybe. You're keeping Devontae for sure. Adam Thielen? Maybe. Quadzilla is his rookie keeper, and a lot of you are like, who the hell is Quadzilla? A.J. Dillon. Remember his name. You're going to hear a lot of it over the next few weeks. Coming in at number 5, Sid. Make America greater again. Dalvin Cook is a top running back. Maybe even the top running back. Receivers, A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, and Deontay Johnson. All, I guess, maybe keeper worthy. Austin Eckler, be interesting to see. Of course, he missed a lot of this year being injured. They have an amazing rookie quarterback who's going into his second year. Eckler is probably poised to have a better year next year if he stays healthy. Number 4. And you're like, hold on a second. We've gone through 6 teams and I've yet to hear Andy's team. That's right, because a lot of us forgot. Andy traded for Christian McCaffrey and really never got to play him. Maybe played him once, and then that's it. Michael Thomas missed almost this entire season being hurt. If those 2 guys come back, they are top play keepers in this league. CeeDee Lamb is his rookie keeper. He has David Montgomery and Lamar Jackson as well. But I'm guessing we're looking at McCaffrey and Thomas there, and those are potentially the top players at their respective positions when healthy. Number 3 is myself. Aaron Rodgers is, as and always will, have a spot on my team until he retires. I've said that forever. Alvin Kamara is going to probably find himself a keeper. And look who has the hot rookie receiver going into his second season yet again. This year was DK Metcalf. Next year, Justin record-breaking Jefferson. I have to say, even though he's a Viking, I am excited about that. Number 2 is Ryan Deesum. Of course, he's got to decide. He has Aaron Jones. Now, we know this past year that Adam Swart didn't keep Aaron Jones. Just think, Swart, had you kept him, you could have had a keeper going into next year besides, well, nobody. Ryan Deesum's got to decide. Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill. Which 2 out of those 3? He does have Chase Claypool as a rookie keeper, so he does have that slot filled. Giggity. And top of the list, Jeff Markser. Jeff Markser made a trade late in the season for Derrick Henry that paid mostly dividends. He is an absolute full-blown keeper in this league. Jeff has 2 other running backs, Josh Jacobs and Nick Chubb, who could be rookie keepers. Darrell Waller is a tight end. Might be the best tight end in all of football. He could be a keeper. Stephon Diggs blew it up in the second half of the season. He is probably going to be a keeper. Swart, are you writing these down? I was talking to you earlier. And then Jeff has Henry Ruggs as a rookie keeper. He is set up nicely to go into next year looking like the front runner to add his 5th, God, I hope not, title to his resume. That's your look into next year. Let's go ahead and send this home again. Congrats to Jeff, your 4th championship, and hopefully your last one for the next, 20 years. That would be nice. Thanks to all of you for a great season. It was a season that we weren't entirely ever going to get off the ground. We didn't even really settle on what to do after the season played out the whole way without any problems. I know that was a big concern going into the draft, but it went. And we had fun. I had fun. I hope you had fun. And that'll be it. Hopefully sometime in the near future, I'll get to see some more of you or some of you in person. It's been a long, strange year. I'm excited for 2021. I hope you are as well. And don't forget, August 28th of 2021. That's right. Write it down. I'll wait. Did you get it? Wait, some of you are like, I'm typing it in my phone. Fine. Get it into Outlook, get it into Google Calendar, get it into whatever app your wife has downloaded onto your phone so your family calendars can all sync up. Get it? August 28th, 2021. That will be the draft. And we might be going back to the cabin. The rules are champ hosts. Jeff Markser's the champ. I, for one, am all in on a cabin draft. Until then, my friends, peace!